This is the Last Transmission podcast, the signal breaking through the noise. Microsoft says their new Majorana 1 quantum chip could reshape the future, faster than any supercomputer, built with ghost-like particles, able to process reality itself. But what if this isn't just a leap in science? What if it's a crack in the veil? In this episode, we explore the tech, the claims, the spiritual interpretations, and the warnings. Are we unlocking divine design or summoning something far darker? Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this transmission.
Okay, so anybody else kind of freaked out by all this tech stuff lately? I mean, Glenn Beck was saying just last week, like, Microsoft's new quantum chip could turn our phones into supercomputers.
Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around. And it does feel like every other week there's some new breakthrough that's gonna, change everything.
Totally. Like, remember Elon Musk and that whole Neuralink thing? Connecting brains to computers?
Oh, yeah.
Superhuman abilities, right? It was Lex Fridman who said it was both, like, exciting and scary at the same time.
Right, and even Musk was saying we would be something different. Not just enhanced, but like a whole new kind of being.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe I get with this Microsoft thing, too, this Majorana 1 chip. Everyone's talking about it, but, like, what even is it?
Right.
That's what we're going to try to unpack today, right? Do a deep dive to this quantum computing world and see it's really going on.
Absolutely. Let's break it down.
Okay, so first things first, imagine we're explaining this to like a 12-year-old who's into tech. How would you describe this Majorana 1? What makes it such a big deal?
Okay, so think about regular computers. They use these tiny switches called transistors.
Right. On or off.
Exactly. On or off, ones and errors, that's how they store info. Quantum computers, they kind of do the same thing, but way weirder. They use qubits.
Qubits.
And a qubit, it's like that switch, but imagine it can be on, off, or both at the same time. It's kind of flickering between the two, existing in this blurry in-between state.
So, like, instead of just yes or, it's like a maybe, but a maybe with, like, way more info packed into it.
You got it. And the thing with Microsoft, they're using this this particle called the Majorana particle, and this is where things get really trippy.
Okay, hit me.
So imagine a particle that's its own opposite, like it's half real and half like a ghost. That's kind of what a Majorana particle is supposed to be, and scientists think it could be way more stable for building these qubits.
Half real, half ghost. I'm already lost.
Right. It's crazy. But think of it like balancing a playing card on its edge. Nearly impossible, but a spinning top.
Yeah.
Way more stable, right. That's the Majorana particle, that spinning top.
Okay, I kind of see what you mean. So Microsoft's trying to use these ghost particles to build a better computer.
Yeah, and the chip they've made, Majorana 1, it's supposed to have millions of these particles. And get this, the potential power, we're talking like solving problems that would take all the supercomputers in the world, like forever to figure out.
All on one tiny chip.
Supposedly, yeah. And it's not just about the particles. They're using these new materials too, like indium arsenide and aluminum.
Those are like pretty rare elements, right?
Yeah, and they're twisting them together into this thing called a topoconductor. It's like a super engineered material to protect those fragile qubits from any interference.
So it's like the ingredients are super weird and the way they're combined is super precise too.
You got it. It's like building a super stable structure, but atom by atom. And here's another crazy thing. Regular computers, they use electrons to do calculations.
Right.
This chip, it uses those Majorana particles themselves to do the computing. It's a whole different ballgame.
Wow. So instead of manipulating electrons, they're manipulating these like half their particles. That's wild. And they want to get 1 million qubits on this chip.
That's the goal. And if they pull it up, well, a lot of people think it'll be a whole new era, like a quantum age.
Quantum age.
Yeah.
It does feel like something big is happening. Okay, so we've got this like super powerful chip built on these strange particles. And, when I was reading up on this, there was a lot of, some pretty interesting takes on this from like a faith perspective too.
Oh, yeah, there are some pretty interesting interpretations out there.
So like, how are people connecting this quantum stuff to like religious ideas?
So there's this commentator, Julia McCoy, and she focuses on the Hebrew term Elohim. Now, we usually translate that as God, right?
Right.
But grammatically, it's actually plural, more like gods or divine beings. So McCoy, she sees that as like a hint at the multiverse theory.
Like all these different realities existing at the same time.
Exactly. So this ancient language, she's saying it might have like predicted what modern science is just now figuring out.
That's pretty wild if you think about it.
Yeah, and she also brings up this thing called the observer effect.
Observer effect.
So in quantum physics, just by looking at a particle, you can change it. And McCoy, she compares that to the creation story in the Bible, that let there be light moment.
So like consciousness is creating reality.
In a way, yeah. Whether it's like divine consciousness or even just us observing things in a lab, it kind of plays into how reality takes shape. It's a big idea in quantum physics, and she sees that reflected in the Bible too.
Huh, interesting. So observing something can bring it into being in a way.
That's the idea. And then there's this more cautious perspective. You know, McCoy talks about Elon Musk and his warning about AI, about summoning the demon, and she's kind of applying that same caution to quantum computing. Like, what happens when we unlock this much power?
Yeah, it's a scary thought. Like, what if we unleash something we can't control?
Right, and there's this YouTube channel, End Times Productions, and they're even more concerned, you know?
What do they say?
Well, they talk about these computers interacting with like unseen forces in dimensions we can't even comprehend. They even bring up Revelation, that part about the angel of the bottomless pit, connecting this Majorana particle to like something demonic.
Wow, so they're seeing this tech as like literally opening a door to the spirit world, something dangerous.
Pretty much, yeah. The way they describe it, it's like Microsoft is tapping into something way beyond our understanding.
It's a pretty dramatic interpretation.
It is, but we also have to look at what, other scientists are saying, and there's definitely some skepticism out there, too. Like Sabine Hossenfelder, she's a physicist, and she's saying Microsoft hasn't really proven that they've achieved what they claim.
Proven what exactly?
Well, this whole idea of topological qubits.
Right, the stability thing.
Yeah, they're supposed to be way more stable because the information is encoded in, like, the shape of the quantum state, not just a single property. But Hossenfelder's saying the evidence isn't really there yet. The terms Microsoft is using are vague, and there hasn't been enough independent verification.
So, like, Microsoft's making these big claims, but the rest of the science world is like, hold on, we need to see more proof.
Exactly, and it's not just her. Even the Wikipedia entry on Majorana 1 talks about this debate. Like, yeah, the potential is huge, but there's no clear evidence yet that this device is doing what they say it's doing.
Especially with that retracted paper a few years back, right? The one where they claimed to have found those Majorana modes, but then it turned out it was something else.
Yeah, that definitely makes people more cautious.
Makes sense. So distinguishing the real deal from these other signals, it sounds tricky.
It is, and some scientists are saying that what they're seeing could just be those other simpler signals, not the actual Majorana modes they need for a truly stable quantum computer.
So we've got these pretty intense spiritual interpretations on one side, and then on the other side, scientists are still debating whether this technology even works the way Microsoft says it does.
Right, it's a fascinating situation. And it's important to remember that those interpretations connecting this to, like, demons or angels, those are very specific claims, and they're not coming from mainstream Christian scientists or theologians. It's more like individuals drawing their own connections, which is fine, but it's not official doctrine or anything.
Right, important distinction. It's cool to see these connections being explored, but got to be careful about, what's actually proven and what's just speculation.
Absolutely, and it really highlights how, like, when you have a new technology this powerful, it makes us think about not just the science, but also, like, the bigger picture.
Totally. Okay, so to sum up, we've got Majorana 1, this potential game changer in quantum computing, using this strange Majorana particle and this topoconductor material. Lots of excitement around its potential, but also a lot of questions from scientists about whether it really works the way they say it does.
And then, of course, we have the whole spiritual side of things, some people drawing parallels to, like, biblical prophecy and the spirit realm, which is definitely interesting to consider.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest. But I think the main takeaway here is that as tech keeps advancing, we're going to keep running into these, like, intersections between science and our beliefs. And figuring out how to navigate that's going to be a big part of the conversation going forward.
Absolutely. It's something we'll all have to grapple with, I think.
So here's something to think about. As we learn more about the universe, are we getting closer to understanding, like, the really big questions, the spiritual side of things? Or is it all just, atoms and particles? It's something to ponder, for sure.
You've just heard another Last Transmission. Microsoft's Majorana chip may be the key to quantum computing, or a catalyst to a spiritual shift few are ready for. Whether it's prophecy, power, or paranoia, one thing is clear: technology is no longer neutral. As we race toward quantum futures, remember, what we build could reshape what it means to be human. Subscribe. Stay awake. This may be the last signal you get.